You say you've already done the introductions?
So we haven't done introductions yet. Hi, Antwyne. This is Rachel Broom with the Roanoke Valley-Alleghany Regional Commission with Antwyne, Megan, and Anita. We'll just chat for a couple of minutes, give folks little time to get connected and join us, and then we'll start the interview. So now that you're here, Antwyne, we can say, how are you doing tonight? Besides that, I sent you the wrong link or didn't send you the link.
I mean, that's just how my day has been going, so it's quite fine. I understand.
Have you met Megan and Anita?
Now, I've met, well, first, I'd like to say, it's a pleasure to virtually meet everyone and be here virtually. And I have met Megan in the past on several occasions at different, I think they were doing different focus groups, and the first one might have been on the top of a hill right there near Tanglewood Mall. They have a nice hotel at the top of a hill.
The
This was
Hilton Garden Inn.
yeah, it was quite so many seasons ago,
Did
but
you
I have
come
not
to
had
the
it.
419 Town Center Plan meeting?
Yes.
All right. Yep. Yeah, that was 2017.
Yes. So that was about the first time. And that was, like I said, that was many seasons ago. And it's a pleasure to meet you, Anita. And hopefully, after COVID and things get a little bit better for all of us, hopefully we'll all get a chance to, meet in person.
Thank you, Antwyne. It's nice to be meeting you on the visual. So.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and get started now. So this is the Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization, and this is the third in a series of chats about transportation equity. So this topic is very relevant to the Roanoke Valley Transportation Planning Organization right now because we are updating our long-range transportation plan. This is a 20-year plan that we update every 5 years. So 5 years rolls off and 5 years gets added on. That means you have an opportunity right now to provide input on transportation. We have a survey. I will share the survey link. So take the survey and share the survey and encourage your friends and family to take the survey. So during the first chat 2 weeks ago, historian Jordan Bell set the stage for why public input is important for transportation. He described the urban renewal, which was when homes, neighborhoods, cemeteries, churches, and schools were replaced with wider roads, the Interstate 581, the Berglund Center, and other development. And this happened in Roanoke and throughout the nation, and this is why it is so important that people take advantage of opportunities for public input on transportation projects so they can be done in a manner that's the least harmful and most equitable for people. And we're so happy to have our citizen Antwyne Calloway be here to interview locality staff about public input opportunities and how public input is used in decision making. And last week he chatted with City of Roanoke staff, and this week he'll be chatting with locality staff from Roanoke County and from the town of Vinton. So I'm going to let Antwyne introduce himself, and then he'll let Anita and Megan introduce themselves, and then he'll have some questions for you all.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, first I'd like to start off by thanking Rachel and the Roanoke Valley Allegheny Regional Commission for having this talk, and for the guests that are here to speak about a subject that I know throughout my career has been very instrumental in making changes in our community, which is transportation and how we view transportation. So I'm thankful to have this opportunity to speak with both Megan and Anita today. And we'll just begin by asking for, can both of you all kind of give me about a 1 to 2 minute description of what your job duties are or what your job title is? And we can start off with Megan, if you don't mind.
Sure. I'd be happy to. I'm Megan Cronice. I'm the Transportation Planning Administrator for Roanoke County. I've been in this position about 1 year, but previous to that, for the 13 years before that, I worked in long-range planning with Roanoke County. Transportation has ended up being a very long-range planning endeavor as well because nothing happens quickly. But I work a lot with VDOT because VDOT is responsible for the county road network. So I work with VDOT on a number of projects in a number of ways, particularly obtaining funding for new projects that we want to do in the county, whether it's for roads or sidewalks, shared use paths, greenways, bike lanes, you name it.
Wow. Sounds like a lot. Thank you, Megan. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Anita, if you don't mind.
Yes, thank you, Antwyne, and thank for having me on this transportation chat. I am with the town of Vinton. I'm the planning and zoning director for the town of Vinton. I started with the town in 1995. I have been involved with the Roanoke Valley Greenway Commission. I've been involved a lot longer with the Greenway, which is another alternative transportation for pedestrian and bicyclists. But I haven't been in transportation that long. We being a small town with limited staff, I've involved in so many things. So about 5 years ago, as far as the transportation funding, grant funding, I got involved with Virginia Department of Transportation Salem District, and the town owned and maintained its street. And we are so thankful that the Salem District has been really very helpful as far as assisting us to get funding for our transportation projects.
Wow, that's great. So you say you've been town of Vinton since 1995?
Correct. Prior to working for the town, I worked for Roanoke County in the planning department. So my major thing is in the land use, planning, zoning, subdivision, site plan. But like I mentioned earlier, with all now for all transportation project, basically you have to have the funding through grant fund in order to have project to be completed in the town. So that's why I got involved with the grant application through the Salem district. Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I think often people we know the town of Vinton, we visit the town of Vinton, and we also visit Roanoke County for those that live in the city area. But there's how long is that gap in between the town of Vinton and I guess the closer to Salem side of Roanoke County? What is that, like an 8 mile stretch in between where the city is? Do you all know? Yeah, it's about. Go ahead.
It might be. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good ways across the city.
It is, and the reason why I say that is because transportation looks different in both areas. And when you're even thinking about transportation for the county, the area of the county that stretches out to what Glenver, and what is it, Back Creek? Is Back Creek, if I'm not mistaken, is part of the county as well. And then you have a Bent Mountain, exactly.
As well. Yeah, we're a
So-
donut around both cities and the town.
Yes, and that's where I think looking at transportation is getting really, and the reason why I asked that question is so people can get the scope of how large the Roanoke County area is, and it encompasses, like you say, the donut around the city, and that is a very large area. I'd like to start off by asking the first question, and the first question that I have is, what opportunities do people have to provide public input on transportation plans and projects? And Anita, if you'd like to take a shot at this, and then we can have Megan kind of follow up.
We offer various, we as the required by the state code, we do have to have a comprehensive plan, and a portion of the comprehensive plan deal with transportation. So we do have, when we are amending our comprehensive plan, we do have public input that to get, public ideas, comments regarding the transportation planning. As far as transportation project itself, we utilize our local newspaper, the Vinton Messenger. Our local reporter is great. Every time I need something to be advertised in the Vinton Messenger, she will jump on it. And we also have very open, we invite people to town council meeting. It's an open meeting, the first and the third Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. And our website and our social media, every time we have transportation project, we do our best to let people know what's going on, and they are always welcome to call, to email, to leave comments on the through social media or to the website.
Great, thank you. And Megan, the same question.
Sure. Roanoke County has initiated 8 long-range plans for small and large areas throughout the county over the past 14 years. And one of those plans is currently underway. Transportation is always a significant component of each of these plans. And as a result, many implementation strategies are focused on improvements to our transportation network, which can include roads, sidewalks, bicycle facilities, greenways, and or mass transit. Planning staff have worked to refine and expand our public outreach strategies for these plans over time as well. The most recent plans, which are the 419 Town Center Plan, the Hollins Center Plan, and the Oak Grove Center Plan, which is currently underway, have collectively engaged over 3,200 participants to date over 5 years between survey responses, community meeting attendance, comments on draft documents, and speakers at public hearings before both our Planning Commission and our Board of Supervisors. So each of these plans have been adopted by the board as a component of our Roanoke County Comprehensive Plan, which Anita spoke to, her comprehensive plan. Every locality in Virginia has to have one. When ideas move from adopted implementation strategies in those plans to conceptual projects with funding, additional opportunities are then available to comment on those proposed projects under development. In the era of COVID-19, these opportunities have increasingly moved online. Roanoke County roads are the responsibility of the Virginia Department of Transportation, so we work very closely with VDOT staff on all of our transportation projects. And VDOT has initiated several virtual public comment periods coupled with detailed project web pages to enable interested citizens to review information and then to provide comments. So that's how it's occurring right now when we can't meet face to face in a traditional public meeting like we used to.
So then so a key piece that I didn't realize, well, I guess I realized it because I've been behind the scenes at times being a part of some of these meetings, but you did state that a lot of the Roanoke County roads are maintained by VDOT, correct? Wow,
Yes,
didn't
almost all
really
of them.
almost all of them? Wow, didn't really realize that. Okay.
It's the same with almost all the counties in the Commonwealth. There are only
Okay.
2 who maintain their own roads that are counties, and that's Arlington and Henrico counties.
Wow.
But the towns and cities maintain their own roads, so they have a lot more flexibility. Like Anita has way more flexibility with what she can do on her road network than what Roanoke County can do on ours because VDOT's responsible for them.
Mm. So when you do your long-term planning and when you're planning for long-term projects, then for the county, is there times and opportunities where the county has to work with both um, the town of Vinton, VDOT, and the county kind of work together to collaborate on various parts of plans and things like that?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
And we
Okay.
have some amazing locality staff. Anita is one of many locality staff we work with, and we're actually on some regional committees together, including for transportation planning. Rachel mentioned the Transportation Planning Organization. We're part of a technical committee that advises the Transportation Planning Organization. So we have a lot of fantastic regional partners along with VDOT to accomplish lots of incredible regional goals.
That's great. Well, I think it to me it heightens the attention to the fact that this work is not being done in silos.
Oh, no.
In the past, many generations ago, it may have been done in silos where each locality and each individual town, city, and county only worried about what transportation may have looked like for themselves or their locality. But over the years, I've seen the tremendous work that you all have done as far as in collaborations and working together to get to work on transportation issues. So that's great to know that. The second question I have, and I'll start this one off since Megan just answered it. I'll start off with her again. Tell us about public input that initiated, halted, or substantially changed the transportation project in your area. Can you think of any?
I can. And the example I'll use is our Plantation Road Bicycle, Pedestrian, and Streetscape Improvement Project. And this is in the Hollins area of the county, Plantation Road. This is the section from Williamson Road to Interstate 81. This project was initiated in 2009 when a business located on Plantation Road asked for a crosswalk to help employees walk between buildings so they would not have to drive. So we looked to the Hollins Area Plan, which had just been adopted 1 year before in 2008, to begin formulating a project to include not only a safe pedestrian crossing, but also sidewalks to connect that crossing, possible bicycle lanes to implement regional plans, and landscaping to improve the appearance of the corridor, which the community told us they really wanted in the Hollins Area Plan. So we reached out to the Plantation Road business community to share our ideas and to build support for the project. And once we began to secure grant funding, we reached back out to those businesses and residents along the corridor to ask detailed questions about their needs. They provided us with invaluable feedback, which helped us to refine the project in design. We had 2 well-attended community meetings, and then 11 years later, we have half a mile of shared use path for pedestrians and bicyclists, as well as a new traffic light with crosswalks and pedestrian signals that's being installed today. It'll be complete by December. More sidewalk will be constructed along Plantation Road next year. along with intersection improvements to facilitate better turning movements. We heard from businesses off of Plantation Road that they had a lot of trouble with one particular intersection where trucks would could lose their wheels in a ditch. So we are rectifying that with this project. And the public input we received from the initial request from that first business through to the detailed design ensured that the project met the needs of the businesses and the residents along Plantation Road.
Wow, that's an amazing story, and even just to highlight the fact that I liked how you stated in 11 years later.
Long-term planning. You have to be patient in planning.
You do, and that is one of the key aspects that, I think from conversations like this is where people really can understand that and grasp the concept of that this is not a short-term thing. This is not, we talk about it today and it's happening 2 weeks from now. We're talking about it today, and the planning and decisions that they're making will actually change the community that they live in and how they can get around in the community, whether it's a walkable community, a bikeable community, or whatever forms of access. This is not just for this year. We're talking about for future years to come. So that is excellent. And Anita, would you like me to read the question to you again, or are you fine with answering the question?
That's fine. I mean, you don't have to repeat the question. Just to reiterate what Megan mentioned earlier, is planning, planning, planning. Most of our greenway, our transportation project has been in the plan, in the comprehensive plan, in the regional plan. For example, all the greenways has been in the greenway plan since 2005. And the one, for example, the Glade Creek Greenway Phase 1, it's been in the plan, and the people are aware of it. And then from the buying of a Precision Fabric Group, they were willing to donate to the town the greenway right away. So the town were able to do that with the funding from Virginia Department of Transportation through the revenue sharing. And right now, I have two transportation projects. One is the extension of the Glade Creek Greenway Phase 2, and we have town council, planning commission were not, they are aware of it. The Vinton Messenger wrote a nice article about the Walnut Avenue Bike and Pet project. So we have done everything we can to make sure people are aware of it. So, sometimes, people will call and comment, but I mean, by letting people know that what is going on, we're able to answer the question before the project move forward. So, it's been a great process, it has been in the plan. I think that's one of the requirements too by the federal and the state government. You have to have those projects identified in your plan. That means, people are aware about it, even though it might be 10, 15 years old in the plan, but, plan change. And then in order to be implemented, people know that there is limited funding. It's always competing needs for all the money, for a town. Which one is more important? Water, sewer, transportation. So we are finding ways how we can get funding to complete certain projects.
And I'm glad you stated that, because it is sometimes for the locality, it does become almost like a juggling act, or which projects can we do, which ones can we not accomplish, and how do we get them all done, even though you have these long-term comprehensive plans with all of these detailed plans. Each road, street, path, greenway, they all have a plan, and it starts somewhere. And it's just good that you made a statement about the fact that when it comes down to it, localities do have to kind of juggle and find out what are the true needs of the community, and how do we try to address that through whatever limited funding that we have at this present point in time. So those are the main questions that I had concerning transportation. Do you all currently at this present point in time have any, virtual meetings scheduled, or do you have currently any kind of, focus groups or forums or anything going on at this time that you all would kind of like highlight at this moment?
Well, I'd just like to mention the town is served by the Valley Metro. bus. We do have bus transportation for the public to utilize. And, and at the same time, my staff, Nathan McClung, has been working with adjoining property owners and the Lion Club to have bus shelter. Right now, majority of our bus stop, except the one near the Vinton Library, have a shelter. We like to increase the number of shelters in the town of Vinton so people can be away from the weather while they're waiting for a bus. So those are some of the transportation, project that we are undertaking right now. In addition to the intersection improvement that is being completed now at the intersection of Washington and South Pollitt, and then Hardy Road and Vineyard. So those are critical intersections that we are thankful for VDOT for that funding to make it safer for pedestrians to cross from one side to another side. So we are lucky to have that.
Yeah, and so in that crossing that you're talking about there, is that like a 4-lane crossing, if I'm not mistaken, or I can't recall.
Yes, Washington, both have this 4-lane right of ways, and then one have 3 legs of intersection, one have 4. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so if there's any big funding sources that are listening right now that would like to donate to put a bus shelter somewhere in Vinton, please contact the town of Vinton and do so. That was just a plug for Vinton. And also with Megan, are there any kind of major projects that are going on right now in the county that you can think of or that you'd like to speak to?
We have lots of major projects underway. And I also wanted to address your previous question too, but the projects we have under construction, the Lila Drive at Plantation Road, signal improvements are currently under construction. Interstate 81 between exits 141 and 143, both northbound and southbound, that widening project is underway. That's in the county. We also have just started the Route 419 project. It's safety improvements between Ogden Road and Route 220 in front of Tanglewood Mall. So that started construction back in August. So the contractor is working on that. We also have VDOT has just wrapped up a public comment period on Route 220 signal improvements between Route 419 and actually into Henry County, but the pieces that we're focused on are 4 signals at the edge of Roanoke County in the city of Roanoke, as well as down into Clearbrook. There'll be some signal improvements that VDOT is going to be working on next year. And then we're going to have another public comment period open for the Starkey Road, Buck Mountain Road roundabout that we've been working on for a few years. And that comment period will open up September 21st. So if you're interested in learning more about all these fantastic opportunities and projects, we do have a community developments e-newsletter that we send out monthly on the first of the month, which does include information about all of these different projects and comment periods when they come up. So people can email me at mcronise, CRONISE, at RoanokeCountyVA.gov. We also have a transportation story map that includes all of the projects that we have funded or that we've requested funding for through lots of various mechanisms that Anita mentioned. And that is www.roanokecountyva.gov/TSM for transportation story map. There's my plug.
It sounds like Roanoke County and Vinton have a lot of things going on. That is great news. It really is. Well, it seems like we may be drawing near to the time of our closing, and I like to thank both of you all for attending and being a part of this conversation. Hopefully, in the near future, we'll be able to continue these kind of dialogues and continue to express the importance of transportation and the importance of community residents getting out and allowing their voices to be heard and giving their input. So I thank both of you for providing us your evening and being a part of this, and I will turn it over to Rachel.
Thanks, Antwyne. So I just want to remind everybody to take the survey and share it and encourage other people to take it. I want to let you know that next week we're going to be hearing from staff from Salem and from Botetourt County. The email addresses for Megan Cronise and for Anita McMillan I have posted in the comments during this video. And I'll get that other link that you just mentioned also added to the comments after we're done here.
Thank you, Rachel.
So thank you all very much, Antwyne, Megan, and Anita. This was a great conversation, and I look forward to seeing what Salem and Botetourt County had to say next week. Have a good evening.
Thank you all
Good
so much.
evening.
Thanks, Antwyne.
All right. Thank you, Megan. See you, Anita.